In the outskirts of Kyoto, hidden deep in the mountains where even the locals hesitated to go after dark, there stood the ruins of an old inn. It was said to have once been a lively stop for weary travelers, a place where merchants rested their horses, where samurai laid down their swords for the night, and where families gathered around warm hearths. But now, the inn was nothing more than a rotting shell, a skeleton of wood and tatami, and a place that everyone in the village warned outsiders to avoid. A young university student, fascinated by old architecture, ignored their warnings. She was determined to write her thesis about forgotten places of Japan and their strange histories. She had read about the inn in an old journal she found in the library, and she wanted to see it with her own eyes. The journey up the winding road was long, and the sun had already dipped behind the mountains when she finally arrived. The moment she saw it, her skin prickled. The building leaned heavily to one side, its roof sagging with years of rain and snow. The wooden signs were unreadable, eaten away by time. Yet, strangely, a faint lantern glowed by the entrance, flickering with a weak orange light. She stepped inside. The air smelled of damp earth and mold. Dust hung thick, and every step she took made the old floor groan. She expected silence, but instead, there was something else. At first she thought it was the wind. A faint murmur, like distant voices, carried through the cracks. But the longer she listened, the clearer it became. They were whispers, low, constant, like many people talking behind paper walls. "Hello," Haruka called out softly, trying to convince herself that perhaps some other explorers had come here before her. No answer came back, only the whispers, weaving and overlapping, too many to count, too faint to understand. Her flashlight trembled in her hand as she moved further in. She found an old guest room. Tatami mats lay torn and rotted, futons blackened with mildew. She swept the beam of light across the walls and froze. The wallpaper wasn't just peeling, it was moving. Fingers pressed out from beneath the paper. Thin, bony fingers, dragging slowly downward, leaving deep grooves behind. Haruka stumbled back, her heart hammering in her throat. She blinked, and the wall was still again, perfectly flat, as though nothing had been there. The whispers grew louder, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Relieved, she yanked it out, hoping she had service after all. The screen lit up, but there was no signal, no message. Instead, a photo had appeared in her gallery. She hadn't taken it. Her breath hitched as she opened it. It was a photo of herself, standing inside the inn, taken from behind. She spun around instantly. The corridor behind her was empty, nothing but shadows stretching endlessly into the dark. Fear gnawed at her, but she pushed forward, determined to see more before leaving. She slid open a shoshi door and stepped into what seemed to be the main dining hall. Long, low tables lay overturned, chairs broken, but scattered across the floor were bowls, plates, and chopsticks still arranged, as if a meal had once been served here. She crouched and picked one up. It wasn't dusty like she expected. It was clean, almost freshly washed. The whispers swelled, now urgent, like a crowd pressing closer. Then came a knock, once loud, at the far door of the hall. Her chest tightened. She whispered to herself, "It's just the wind, just the wood settling." Another knock, harder, and then the door slid open on its own. The darkness behind it was absolute, as if the hallway beyond had been swallowed whole. Slowly, unnaturally, something crawled out. Its body was bent at impossible angles, elbows and knees twisted backward. Long matted hair covered its face, dragging across the floor as it moved in jerks, like a broken puppet. Its nails scraped along the wood, leaving deep scars. Haruka's flashlight shook violently as she tried to aim it. The figure paused, then lifted its head. Two hollow sockets stared at her where eyes should have been. From its gaping mouth came a chorus of voices, layered, whispering in perfect unison. "You stayed in our room." The lantern light in the dining hall sputtered, and died, leaving her in choking darkness. She tried to run, but the tatami beneath her feet rippled, softening as if it were water. Hands gray, skeletal hands shot out from the floor, grabbing her ankles, her wrists, pulling her down. She screamed, kicking, clawing, but more hands emerged from the walls, the ceiling, the broken furniture. Dozens, then hundreds, all reaching, grasping, dragging her toward the floor. The crawling figure moved closer, lowering its face inches from hers. Its torn lips stretched into something resembling a smile. "You will never leave," it whispered, breath colder than ice. She struggled desperately, her nails tearing against the tatami, splinters embedding in her fingertips. The more she fought, the deeper she sank, the floor swallowing her like quicksand. Her vision blurred with terror, then light dot. A pale gray glow spilled into the room. The hands loosened. The figure vanished. Haruka gasped, coughing, as she pulled herself free. Dawn had broken. The first rays of morning filtered weakly through cracks in the shoji screens. Stumbling, trembling, she ran. Through the corridor, out the door, down the overgrown path. She didn't stop until she reached the safety of the village. Only when she turned back did she realize the inn was gone, where it had stood. There was nothing but an empty clearing, wild grass swaying in the wind. No walls, no lantern, no rooms, only silence. Her phone buzzed again. With trembling fingers, she looked at the screen. Another new photo had appeared. It showed her standing outside the inn, smiling faintly, and in every window behind her hundreds of eyeless figures pressed against the glass.